This video will serve as an introduction to the Fair Use Evaluator. This tool is intended to help you better determine whether or not you are making fair use of an item under U.S. copyright code. While it cannot provide you with legal advice or an ultimate determination for certain whether or not an item is fair use, because that can only be done by a court of law, it gives you the tools to better understand fair use and to document your process in making a decision about whether a particular use you're making is fair use. This can be very useful so that you'll have something in your records should you ever be asked by a copyright holder, showing that you did do a fair use evaluation and how the data that you were looking at supported your determination of fair use. So there are several parts to this tool. First of all, there is the option to simply learn more about fair use by clicking on this box. So if I do click on this, it's basically going to give me the table of contents for the entire tool. And this allows you to simply focus on any particular section where you may have a question or just want to learn more about it. It's nice if you aren't talking about a specific example right now and instead you simply want to take a look at a rule and start your thought process before you go through the whole tool. Now, going back to the first page, you can also actually make a fair use evaluation using this tool. So you'll see that if I click on this box, it's going to give you a process about how to get started. You're going to provide background information that describes your intended use and goes through the 4 fair use factors and helps you lay that out. At the end, you do have the option to publish a timestamped PDF that says what your thought process was as you went through this tool. So let's click the next button and see how that looks. So first of all, you would fill all of this information out. Note that this is optional, but it can be helpful. So we're going to skip along to save time and look at the next piece. Next up is factor 1, purpose. And in this box, they want you to describe the purpose and character of your intended use and how that relates to fair use. And you'll see that there's a link here that will actually give you help with this process. And there are many of these pop-up boxes throughout this tool. And this will walk you through exactly what this standard is and how you can look at it and what you might think of as favoring or opposing fair use in the context of this. After you've written this, so I might say something like, I intend to use a few pages of the book in a class. And now I would rate how fair I feel the purpose is here on the bottom by clicking on one of these boxes. And then I would click the next. And again, same thing for factor 2, factor 3, and factor 4. Now, I'm intentionally not filling in much information because I want you to see how this works and how useful or not useful it may be. So for each of these, as with the first, there is the option to get more information by clicking on the link, and all of them are optional. So it will let you continue along. Finally, it's going to offer you the option to say that based on your information and what you've said so far, how fair do you think the overall level of fairness is? And again, this tool is meant to give you information and help you to track your thought process, but it does not make a determination for you. So you'll notice that I've filled out very little of it, and it's still going to let me finish the process and even create a PDF. But that PDF won't have a whole lot of information. So if we click on this, there will be a PDF, and when it opens, you'll see that it's going to be mostly blank. So really you do, even though everything is optional, you want to fill out as much of this as possible so that it collects the information that you really need. But it's difficult to do this without the item directly in front of you and without having really thought through the process. So I would encourage you to do that. Now, you can also start over, and they don't save any of your information. So make sure that if you've gone through this process and you want a PDF, you need to do that first before you purge the information and start over at the beginning. I hope that's a helpful overview of how the Fair Use Evaluator works. Feel free to get in touch with the library if you have any questions or would like more help. If you have questions on this or anything else, please ask the library.